Francisco Deltas played here in 2017. And the California victory. All right, well, here we go. It is the NPSL National Championship live from San Francisco. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in again to our broadcast wherever you are. We are very grateful. And we are underway. Here is Jesus Martinez. His cross hangs up in the air there. And cleared away by Ronan O'Mahony. Soto with possession. Back into the feet of Martinez. Crosses it in. And away again. El Farolito and Hickory FC are proud members of the NPSL. We're committed to fostering an environment of respect, inclusion, and sportsmanship. Behavior involving racism, vulgarity, bullying, body shaming, inappropriate content, or disrespect towards any culture, lifestyle, race, religion, or individual will not be tolerated and may result in removal. Thank you for helping us create a positive experience for everyone from the NPSL.
Oh, this is sure to be a fantastic game. I'm sure both of these teams, a lot of nerves. Obviously, El Farolito was in this final last year, but hey, sometimes that doesn't matter. A final is a final. There's going to be some nerves to shake off in this first five. A strong start from both teams, as we expected, though.
There's Maxime's Wester's cross, and away there. Held up by Dembor Benson. Benson, who played at the Central Valley Fuego, now defunct team from USL League One, actually played against them as an El Farolito player, and Central Valley Fuego liked him so much they signed him right there and had him right in the side. He's also the brother of Jerry Benson, a famous Honduran player.
Yeah, 10 goals on the season, actually was the Golden Gate Conference MVP. Obviously, we had to highlight KG, the Golden Glove winner, but Benson, certainly somebody to keep an eye on.
There is Sacré. He's got a throw. Lovely goal from Kipre Sacré in the semi-final match. A volley off of a cross from Johan Jabur. Right in the first 20 minutes for Farolito. 1-0 for such a long time. As we said in the open, there was that injury stoppage. They did get a second goal to kind of put the match away, but it was about 18 minutes of stoppage time. And Soto got that second to put them into this final. And for Hickory FC, they went up 2-0 against Ristosi, and then it was a little bit seesaw, but they were in control for most of it. Ended up 3-2.
Certainly, we had the pleasure of course, talking to head coach Carlos Rubio, and he said, it felt comfortable for most of the time. At the end of the game, and that extra added time, there was just quite a bit of it.
Here is Jabur, and dispossessed there by Wanche, the captain.
Carlos Rubio was saying there's just quite a bit of that extra added injury time, and it was in those moments that Hickory FC started to look a little bit shaky, allowed one shot to go off the crossbar, and Carlos Rubio said, if that had gone in, obviously we're going into extra time, and then it's anybody's game. Obviously went off the crossbar, and history wrote itself, and here are Hickory FC. They'll hope to finish strong today. El Farolito certainly will punish them in something like that. Certainly a game where neither team is able to let up. We're expecting quite a physical match. Both teams like to attack. And with that, we could see a lot of this. A lot of trying to relieve pressure with those long balls over the top.
Yeah, Tomas Polacci ended up being the match winner for that game on the weekend, and he came on, scored the goal, and then immediately came off a few minutes later. But Polacci, very much a club folk hero for Hickory FC. Scored a goal in the 119th minute to make sure they captured the South region. Here's Kipre Sacré. And now Benson back to his right. Closed down. Charlie Naylor putting his body on the line right there.
Hickory FC withstanding a lot of pressure from El Farolito right now. We're seeing Martinez, number 18, the left back for El Farolito, get really high up this left line. He's going to take this throw in right now, but he'll get really high up, deliver those crosses in, and that's putting a lot of pressure on this Hickory back line, which is why we've been seeing those long clearances. Hickory's going to need a lot of help from Pineda in that hold-up play from that number 9 position.
Early moments still for both of these two sides. First meeting, of course. Soto, that's his cross in. And away there by Letienne.
Farolito looking comfortable right now. I mentioned, of course, they've been in a final before, so it's no surprise that they perhaps are having a more calm, composed, arguably better start. But Hickory, they're going to get their legs underneath them. I think there's going to be a lot of swings and momentum in this game. You can even see right there, building through the middle of the field and looking for that ball to Pineda. A better attempt and a better look forward from Hickory FC.
Farolito attempting to be the first team that wins the NPSL in back-to-back years. There was a year that Miami FC won. There's Benson. They thought that it may have hit an arm there. There was a bit of a protest. Kept in by Mosquera. Raising his hand is Robbie Deegan. He thought it went out. Kept in by Pineda. And then the official here on the near side raises his flag. Jose Landa in the middle today. Alongside him, the two ARs, Alberto Azbetia and Aaron Stein. And the fourth official is Turan Ozmir.
Officiating such a thankless job, so we'll thank them here on this broadcast.
Here's Alvaro Sanchez on the counterattack. Lovely little run from Sanchez into the feet of O'Mahony. It really pulls the strings for this Hickory team. Carlos Rubio very high on his midfield. O'Mahony, Juan Pablo, and Alvaro Sanchez.
Yeah, absolutely. Juan Pablo playing in that number 6 role, that defensive center mid, if you will. And Carlos told us that he's going to dictate play. He's going to pull the strings. He's going to be the player to keep Hickory FC in their formation, making sure everybody is staying true to their position. He's going to make sure O'Mahony and Sanchez Gonzalez come back defensively, stay in their position as the number 8 and number 10. But offensively, those two making very dynamic runs forward has really allowed Hickory to score as many goals as they have in this season.
El Farolito now in their 40th year. Champions of the 1993 U.S. Open Cup. They've had some really good success in the U.S. Open Cup this last couple of years. Getting to the third round. Here is Pineda, and now Sanchez. And out for a corner. The first set piece of this game.
And Carlos Rubio said of Sanchez Gonzalez, he has a tremendous ability in tight spaces, and what they want to do is find him in between pressing layers. If they can do so, he'll be able to find that final pass or dribble to create the chance. They're able to find him in the attacking third there.
Corner taken by O'Mahony. Letienne is in there, big target. So again, he scored last weekend. Jose Landa having a little chat here with Naylor and Zulaga.
Yeah, keep an eye on number 23, Charlie Naylor, English center back, quite the aerial presence for Hickory.
O'Mahony into the area, Pineda! And a bit of a glancing header, though.
Oh, that's a good look and a great ball in. You can see the texture on that ball. Pineda rising, well covered from El Farolito right there. Otherwise, that might have hit the back of the net. Oh, you talk about the flow of the game, Charles. El Farolito obviously coming out strongest, but Hickory FC, mentioned they're going to get their feet under them. They're going to be calmer. Now a couple chances back-to-back created for them.
Here is Pineda operating on this right wing here. Pineda sees Kevin Gonzalez maybe slightly off his line there. That's why he had to go.
Yeah, I mean, not a traditional angle, certainly, but yeah, you can see, you know, KG really not off his line right there. Either Pineda just wanted to take a shot at it and see what could happen. At this point of the game, why not?
One back here by Sousa into the feet of O'Mahony. His little chip over the top looking for Wester.
You start to see how dynamic this Hickory team can be in that central space, in that center midfield.
This is a Hickory team that was started by 5 different families who are co-owners of the club. And we were told by Carlos Rubio this is something the community wanted and craved. And had the chance to chat with Samuel Fisher and Jonathan Rink, who do a lot of the marketing and operations for this team. He said they got 2.2 million impressions on their social media the last 30 days surrounding this team and their performance. And they have put together quite a community and quite a club. Now just in its 2nd year, lots of respect as well from Santiago Lopez. Now in his 15th season coaching El Farolito. They haven't always been in the NPSL. El Farolito play in the San Francisco Soccer Football League, the oldest soccer league in the country, over 100 years plus. And they used to be in the top division in that league before moving to the NPSL so that they could potentially compete to get the automatic Open Cup spot every season.
Santi, as he's affectionately known, was telling us the whole story as he took over coaching right after his playing years, actually. He said coaching wasn't really anything he ever wanted to get into, but they needed a new coach, and his father at the time was managing the team, the owner of the team. They needed a new coach, and he said he stepped in, and the first game he ever went to, they had 10 players. He had to step onto the field himself as a player, and from there he just decided that that wasn't good enough, and the rest is history, as they say. Iconic team here in San Francisco, though, Charles.
Yeah, and we asked him, you know, about how a lot of the country is behind this team, because this is a team that's gone far in the U.S. Open Cup, and, you know, people are used to the quote-unquote cup set, or the team from a lower division, you know, maybe defeating an MLS side or a MLS Next Pro team or potential USL Championship side, and very proud of the Open Cup prestige that he gets to bring back, and almost a second golden generation. In fact, the second golden generation of El Farolito since their 1993 Cup run.
Yeah, absolutely. They are tied for the record for the furthest any NPSL team has made it in the Open Cup. In the professional era, that is, starting in 1997 when the MLS started. They made it to the 3rd round this year, the 3rd round the previous year, and the 2nd round the year before. They were actually knocked out by another Bay Area team, the Oakland Roots, 2 years running up until this year. Yeah, this year they crashed out to Sacramento Republic, and they beat Real Monarchs and defeated Monterey Bay. Referee having some words here with Denver Benson. Charlie Naylor and Benson having a nice little battle over there. Hasn't gone to the book just yet, but could be close. There's been a few stoppages this last couple of minutes, and I think they're protesting for the yellow card there. Kipre Sacre on Mahoney. He's still down on the ground. Jose Landa doing a great job of controlling this game. We knew it was going to be physical. Both coaches we spoke to knew that this could turn into a physical match. I like a referee that doesn't go to the card immediately. I like a referee that does the talking to, making sure everybody's on the same page. He's letting everybody know here, hey, we're not going to let anything go. We're going to let you play on if we think that it's allowed, but otherwise we're not going to be too quick with the cards, but we're not afraid to stop this game. And Jose Landa certainly will have his hands full today, as we've now witnessed in this first 15.
Yeah, Ronan O'Mahony, who scored the opening goal.
I will say, some of these players are going to have to be careful. Only one of them is wearing the captain's armband. And that is the only one that really should be talking to the referee right now, simply for safety of players, as now we see off camera plenty of players ushering their teammates away to make sure nobody gets a yellow card for something that might come out of their mouth.
Well, I think he has just gone to the book there, but it was a bit of a wait to see who it was. And good to see O'Mahony back up. And yellow card to Kezar Stadium for that tackle. And it's funny, it was kind of building to that crescendo, right?
Certainly.
With so many of these stoppages and that tackle coming in. We'll see how it unfolds after this first 15 minutes. Wanche's ball into the area. Naylor. Deegan was saying he was held there.
Yeah, he wanted a card for that. A little bit in there, certainly could have been. Now another discussion between some players. At a certain point, we are going to have to just play on here, though. It's getting physical.
Yeah, lots of protesting here, and I think that's Geoffroy Litien who goes to the book, and
I believe it is. Now, this is important as we move forward in the game. Litien, one of the two center backs for Hickory FC, and Sake, center midfielder for El Farolito. Those are two very key positions, and we're only 15 minutes into this game. When you're on a yellow card, you have to bear that in mind as you continue on into this game. It's going to affect how they play, or it should affect how they play in terms of physicality, especially in a game that is really calling for a lot of physicality.
Naylor wins the header. Martinez back into the area, and Sousa looks to clear. Closed down here by Soto. Kept in by Murillo. And O'Mahony gets a touch there, and then O'Mahony fouled again by Murillo. And they're asking for another yellow card. It seems like every single challenge there is we're in a courtroom, and
yes,
we're playing plaintiff and a defense, and both sides. I mean, all of the Hickory players up off the bench, all of the El Farolito players off of the bench here.
It's a final.
Yeah.
That's the emotion that players bring to a final, and it's nice to see. It's wonderful to see. That's just pure care, emotion, competition coming out. At a certain point, it is going to hit an inflection point where perhaps the team that can remain the calmest and keep their emotions most in check is going to come out on top.
This is Clie on that far side. He scored the match winner against Monterey Bay FC in that second round win for El Farolito in the U.S. Open Cup. Ivorian-based player Edgar Clie with his countryman Kezar Stadium, who's on the ball there, and then dispossessed nicely by Deegan. Deegan, who played on the U17 English National Futsal team, and is one of the more technical players within this Hickory team, the futsal player.
That's Zuluaga down on the ground. He rose incredibly high to challenge for that aerial ball, and he just landed pretty hard as he came down on his hip on the ground. Just took the brunt of it. Very start and stop game so far, Charles.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be a ton of flow after speaking to both coaches and attending both practices this week. They both trained at Crocker Amazon, which is on the other side of San Francisco, where it's windy and quite foggy, and El Farolito wanted to train later in the evening to simulate that. And when I got to visit them out at practice earlier this week, it was so misty and so foggy. But speaking to Santiago Lopez about that, he said, you know, the conditions, we want to train for that. We want to train how it's going to be at Kezar. Mosquera's ball over the top. It's a nice ball. Sousa deals with it. And can it fall here? Yes, it does. It's Kipre Sacre. He crosses it in. It's Kriye. Well, you thought he was going to have a go there, but he wanted to move it back to his left foot. Kriye's cross. Back on in. Denver Benson rises. And that's the first opportunity there for El Farolito, the home side.
See exactly what Kriye was thinking there in terms of trying to shift it to the left. Well defended by Hickory, just forcing him back out wide, forcing him into making that cross with his right. A challenged cross as well. And another player down.
Yeah, it is Leo Sousa. And he's going to get some medical attention here.
Sousa with a fantastic touch on that ball over the top. He one-timed it as it was coming over his head. It was almost like a Willie Mays. If we're in San Francisco, we can reference that. A Willie Mays no-look catch, a basket catch, if you will. But for soccer, a beautiful touch, but it does seem like that leg that he extended, at least the El Farolito players that are standing around him are motioning, oh, did you hyperextend that? Obviously, we're not going to speculate what happened. A beautiful touch right there from Sousa. And it certainly did stop that immediate attack of El Farolito. We knew, as Santiago Lopez, head coach of El Farolito, said to us as we spoke to him before this match, they didn't expect Hickory to sit back and defend. And he said El Farolito is just going to match that intensity, and that's certainly how this first 20 has turned out.
And Leo Sousa from Maringa, Brazil, out of Coker University. Gonna have to come off for a second and then come back on. Or maybe he's just gonna be withdrawn here. He did not start the national semifinal. Carlos Rubio maybe having a quick chat with him here. And I think he may make the substitution and bring on Diego Fernandez. And you can see Sousa very emotional about it, of course. Sousa wants to stay on. And you can see that by his body language, but he's super disappointed. And you can see what it means to him there.
It was such a tough break for him. You never want to see anybody taken out of the game, but in a final, no less, for injury.
So on comes Diego Fernandez. He will be the new right back out of Segovia, Spain. Mars Hill University. Here's Soto. His shot. And just trickles over for a corner. The first corner for El Farolito. Well, here's the move again by Denver Benson. We're trying to see what happened to Leo Sousa. Crossed in here over everyone's head. And Wanche will track it down. Dispossessed there by Zulaga.
And actually looks like Wester, who's wearing the number 44 shirt, is going to be pulled back into that right back position. And Diego Fernandez, who came on in place of the injured Sousa, is going to push up into that right wing role.
Bit of a restart. And a free kick upcoming to the visitors. Well, speaking of that baseball reference that you made about Willie Mays, we have to honor and talk about one of the most famous Hickoryans with San Francisco roots, or San Francisco roots, excuse me, kind of
ties.
Rooted players, ties with famous folks from Hickory, and that's Madison Bumgarner.
Anybody from the Bay Area knows Mad Bum, as we affectionately call him. Three-time World Series champion pitcher for the San Francisco Giants. Helped the Giants to 3 World Series in 5 years, including his rookie season in 2010. We have a lot of love for Madison Bumgarner here in the Bay Area, and that's a lot of love for Hickory.
Yeah, he was a one-man show in 2014. Here's Crier's cross for Kezar Stadium. His header over the bar.
That's a good look there down the line. And the right idea to just one touch on that cross. Well done by Sacre to rise on that near post. He was able to get around it, just a little too much on it in terms of height.
Here's Pineda. Was he fouled by Mosquera? And it'll be another free kick for the visitors. They trained yesterday at Crocker Amazon around midday, so they didn't get the full mist and the fog rolling in. But watching that training, just the sheer joy of all of the players and the atmosphere that Carlos Rubio has created. They traveled here with many folks from their front office, including content creators, and everyone actually gets on the field at the end and plays a group scrimmage. So it's a full club group scrimmage. So you even had Jonathan Rink, VP of Ops, in there. You had Samuel Fisher, and it's really a family feel. You really get that. You feel the warmth and the love, and just by being there and observing, it was lovely to see how together this Hickory team is as a club.
You get that feeling when Carlos Rubio talks about his side, talks about this town, talks about the Hickoryans supporting this team, coming out every week to show the love. It's nice to see something like that. Nice to know that Hickory was able to travel here, maybe escape some of that humidity, some of that heat. I do think it might have been a little tougher for a San Francisco-based team to go east than vice versa. Obviously, maybe we're going to guess at the weather. I'm going to say probably 57 degrees Fahrenheit and cloudy, slightly misty. Pretty perfect soccer weather right now. But going from that into humidity can sometimes be pretty devastating for a team when you're not used to humidity. So coming the other way, certainly a benefit to El Farolito. Not to mention the fans.
Kezar Stadium upended there. El Farolito protesting for a free kick, and it's out for a throw-in, says Jose Landa. And you're right about that weather comment. In fact, Santiago Lopez admitted that to us. He said, most importantly, the weather. We wanted to avoid the weather and travel in a whole different part of the country. And he said, imagine us going to Hickory and playing that game in front of a sold-out fan base. It would have been very difficult with the climate and the sea change. There's the cross that comes in, intended for Benson. Maxime Wester at that right-back spot, as you had mentioned, and a little bit of a push there from Benson, conceding the free kick.
This Hickory team is so dynamic on offense. Part of these stoppages and part of this physicality is coming because El Farolito don't want Hickory to have the time and space on the ball to do exactly what you're seeing right here. Turn in between lines.
Here's O'Mahony into the feet of Pineda. It's Pineda! And his cross over the bar there.
Oh, this is exactly what Carlos Rubio wants. He wants to find his attackers in between pressing lines, and they're able to do so right there. Pineda, it's a tough angle. He goes for it. He almost had it. Pineda can almost score from any angle, so I like the fact that he went for it. But just to pick that back up, this is why we're seeing so much more physicality, because Hickory, with their ability on the ball, you can't let them have that time to turn. So Pineda, anytime he's trying to check back and play that hold-up play, El Farolito already, they're on his back, and they're not going to let him have that ball.
Here is Maxime Wester. His coach describes him as an Aston Martin. He just runs all game and the same kind of speed. Crossover to the left. Looking for Robbie Deegan. Running full speed at Kevin Gonzalez. Back to the feet here of Murillo. And now Gabriel Arias. Martinez chested down by Kezar Stadium. A little 1-2 here with Soto. It's lovely. The challenge comes in from O'Mahony. The whistle and the referee say no. And here comes Hickory through the feet of Sanchez. Crossed on in, Pineda! For Hickory, and the visitors have the opening goal in San Francisco on the half-hour mark.
Deegan is able to keep it in, and look at this work, finding a wide open Pineda, splitting the two center backs.
It is El Farolito 0, Hickory 1. The visitors have taken advantage, and Pineda, who's done this time and time again for his team, the person that's won the NPSL Golden Ball, slots home.
That ball placed on a platter, and Pineda doing the good work to get himself open, finding that space in between the two center backs, and all he has to do is redirect. El Farolito will be disappointed. Not enough players pressing and stepping into Deegan, allowing him to get that cross off, and then just a miscommunication between the two center backs in Mosquera and Zulaga, leaving Pineda wide open in between them.
Well, that is a dream start for Hickory. Here is Murillo, and we'll see how Farolito responds to this.
Well, you can hear the Hickory fans that made the travel, made the trip all the way out here. Obviously, El Farolito's numbers might be stronger right now, but Hickory are louder at this moment.
Here is Deegan, who provided that lovely cross just moments ago. Alvaro Sanchez. And Hickory, you kind of feel like they're rising in momentum, kind of in the ascendancy, and
certainly
took it right around the right time, Sarah.
Absolutely. I think it's been obviously back and forth all half. El Farolito starting off strongest, Hickory getting their feet underneath them, and then El Farolito maybe taking some of that momentum back, but Hickory right there with that momentum against the run of play in the counterattack, able to capitalize. And we were just saying, that's when Hickory are the most dangerous. They're so good on the ball. They're so dynamic. They can find that space in between lines, and that's exactly how they capitalize. And at the end of the day, both teams are going to have their chances. Both teams have pretty high-power offenses. So it's a matter of who can be most efficient, who can put their chances away and take that opportunity when it's presented.
Well, another free kick for the away side, leading by a goal to 0. Ronan O'Mahony stands over it. And a little too much there. He was looking for Charlie Naylor, the center back.
And this is an important 5 minutes for Hickory. Anybody who's played soccer knows that right after you score, you're actually most vulnerable to concede, and especially in a final like this when emotions are heightened, they're going to have to lock in even more than they were before.
Headed on there by Kipre Sacre. Here's Kriye. And now here is Soto. Probably wants to bring it back to his left foot. Goalkeeper Mickey does well there. More numbers in the box there for El Farolito.
Absolutely, they've been getting their chances, El Farolito. You can call them almost half chances. There's nothing that's been too wide open, and that's a credit to Hickory's defense, who are stepping to the ball as quickly as they possibly can. Right now for El Farolito, it's just a matter of how many times can we do this? Let's create it. Let's try to be dynamic. Let's try to mix it up so we're not always taking it line and crossing it back in. And in time it will come. El Farolito right now have to trust the process. There's plenty of time left in this game. They can't panic. They can't start sending balls in before those crosses should be made. They need to settle in, trust the process, trust that they'll get their opportunities.
Well, Johan Jabur is being booked there for that challenge.
This will be another good opportunity here for Hickory. 3 yellows in this first half already, Charles. certainly makes you wonder as we get deeper into this game if there will be substitutions made because of those yellows.
Yeah, and I think that you were right about your statement you made earlier, which team, can settle in easier in this final, which team maybe can be more calm when there's a lot of pushing and shoving, words being exchanged, etc. Here is Martin Wanche, closest to our broadcast booth. Wanche, away there by Denver Benson. Pineda, the goal scorer, he gets to the end line. Pineda, and it was lined up on a platter there for Jeffrey Litien. And Juan Pablo has a go from distance.
That's better coverage there from El Farolito. Everybody marked up 1 for 1 in the box, stepping to the player when that recycled second ball comes out. And we certainly are a little too early for time-wasting tactics, if you will. But it does seem that El Farolito are a bit in a hurry, and Hickory are taking their time, as they should. They're playing in an away stadium with away fans. That first goal for Hickory arguably could be more important than El Farolito if they had scored first.
It's a lovely ball over the top. Fernandez running onto it there. And he's asking for a foul or a card. And the referee having a little bit of a chat here with Jesus Martinez.
Now Fernandez seemingly claiming that he was hit in the face. Martinez disagreeing with that. And we'll never know. That'll be a secret between Martinez and Fernandez.
Throw in here. Maxime Wester, the new right back. Again, that early change for Carlos Rubio. Leo Sousa had to be withdrawn. And then they scored a goal. Almost seemed like that goal may have settled Hickory down. Just seems like they're growing in confidence. Out for a throw-in on that far side.
Well, we've certainly had everything. We've had some stopping, some starting, some yellow cards. We've had a goal against the run of play. This has certainly been the final we've expected so far.
Krier into the middle. It'll fall here for Soto, who goes to ground, and the referee points to the spot. Penalty for El Farolito.
Listen, this is a classic case of, yes, the defender did get the player and not the ball. Does it matter that touch was pretty far away over there from Soto, and he might not have gotten it? At the end of the day, the rules of soccer dictate, no, it doesn't matter that touch was too long. At the end of the day, it was a touch taken. The defender got all player, no ball. I understand why that was called.
Yeah, I happen to agree with you. We could debate that, and that big, longer touch, and then he keeps his run there. The two players kind of collide with him there. There is the case of that. There is no VAR in the NPSL National Championship, just so everybody knows. So that is the one replay we've got for you. I'm sure our wonderful team will show that once more for you. Denver Benson with his hands on his hips here for El Farolito. Benson levels things up in San Francisco for the home side. El Farolito 1, Hickory FC 1. And with around 7 minutes to go before the end of the first half, it's game on in the NPSL National Championship.
Well, Mickey certainly guessed the right way, but Benson buried that side netting. There's no way you can save that. Calm, composed, collected from Benson, the number 9 of El Farolito. We're getting another look here at what led to this. And it's Wester, number 44. That offense was called on. Stuck his right leg out as he got behind the ball on Soto. And once again, certainly seems like the right call.
Well, this is a big next 6 minutes leading up until halftime. And the referee immediately draws out his yellow cards there.
Another key yellow there. That's on Juan Pablo, who plays the defensive center mid position, that number 6 for Hickory FC. And it's called the defensive center mid for a reason. He'll be doing a lot of defending, so he'll have to do it on a yellow for the last 45. Well, the last 50. We've still got 5 left here.
Don't worry, it's not a math test. Headed on by Benson, the goal scorer. Tracked down there by Diego Fernandez and Soto, who won the penalty. Soto.
That was gorgeous.
Yeah, the crowd really loved that one. There was the ooh and the ah. Referee, I thought, said play on for a second, and now multiple protests around this referee. Yeah, it is a final, Sarah. It really is a final. Yeah, the emotions are so high in this stadium. You can feel the tension from up here in our broadcast position. Both benches, animated, active, vocal, whatever you want to call it. And it's every single play, and I think it'll be like that for the next couple of minutes leading up until halftime. Sacre for Crier. Couple of step overs back to his left side. Crier switching the field through the feet of Arias. Nice little chip ball to that left side for Soto. Albert Soto, his cross, headed away by Letien. Arias, lovely floated ball for Johan Jabur.
And that's Johan Jabur, as you mentioned. He's the right back. That's it, the right back for El Farolito, getting all the way up the pitch. Both of these teams, they play very similarly, a 4-3-3, and when they're in an attacking formation, they want to send at least one of those outside backs, be it the left back or the right back, ideally the strong side back, outside back, all the way up the pitch to try to overload in numbers. Part of what makes defending these teams and relieving some of that pressure so difficult.
Deegan trying to get out of that area there, and assistant referee on that far side waving his flag. And another restart for the visitors deep in their own defensive half. And you can see El Farolito, they really try to press, and that's what they've tried to do all game. And Hickory okay playing on the counterattack and having their openings come up and taking advantage, of course, with their goal through Pineda. O'Mahony for Wester there.
Hickory certainly making it look easier than it is, relieving some of this pressure. You mentioned playing on the counterattack. They haven't just been able to counter, they've been able to relieve some pressure and find some possession in that. Obviously, most of their chances have come on the counter, but it hasn't just been a one-counter game for them, and then they'll drop back into their defensive formation. They've been able to find some possession and find some outlets, something that nobody's really been able to do against El Farolito this season.
Jabur. Ball finds its way into the goal scorer, Benson. Wheeling away is Juan Pablo. And now Alvaro Sanchez. Tackle by Arias there to win back possession for the home side. Soto down this left side, using his speed. About a minute left in this half. And it looks like Turan Ozmir has just put his hand up, and it looks like maybe 4 minutes. He's standing right in front of us at the scores table with NPSL officials, and on that far side there, it's Robbie Deegan. And a bit of a spill. And being helped up by Yabur. And there's going to be 5 minutes of stoppage time. Well, is there to be maybe a few more chances left at the end of this half? Since it's been 1-1, Sarah, you kind of get the feeling both of these two teams have settled in a lot more. And
certainly, I think it's been a little less open. Both teams not wanting to be the next one to concede.
Wester for Pineda. Here comes the goal scorer, Tony Pineda, on his right foot. Lovely speed, change of pace by Pineda. Away there, falls to Wester. Was he fouled by Soto? Referee says no, he wanted that foul there. That would have been in quite a position too.
That one's going to be called. It certainly feels like two undefeated teams playing each other, and that's exactly what we have, right? Hickory undefeated first in the Southeast Division, 9 wins, 1 draw, and no losses on the season. El Farolito first in the West Golden Gate Division, 12 wins, no draws, no losses. Actually, the last time El Farolito lost an NPSL match was July 22nd, 2023. They lost 3-2 against Crossfire Redmond, who were actually also the team to knock them out in the playoffs that year. But it's been quite a while. An undefeated season in 2024 last year. And they also won the final, of course. Now carrying that undefeated season into this year. And will it be Hickory FC to break that streak?
Yeah, some impressive stats from El Farolito. And Hickory as well, unbeaten on the year.
Certainly. Both of these teams with really impressive goal differentials as well. Hickory with 31 goals for and just 7 goals allowed across the entirety of the regular season. El Farolito, on the other hand, plus 41 goal differential, plus 38 goal differential. They've scored 41 goals allowed, just 3 in the regular season. Really impressive numbers.
Here's Kriye on this right side. Edgar Kriye, and a lovely tackle by Juanche at that left back position. He looks to switch the field quickly into the feet of Fernandez on this right side, and his second touch just let him down.
Yeah, Fernandez will be disappointed in that. It was a good look, though, a good run, and a good ball in. El Farolito certainly seem to be taking their time. They'll be happy to take this 1-1 into halftime.
Headed on by Mosquera. You could hear that from our position all the way up here. And a free kick for the home side, right at central midfield.
End of the half, tired legs right now. It's been pretty up and down, a lot of running for all of these players. And with tired legs comes more and more soccer like that. Nobody wanting to settle the ball.
Pineda now into the feet of Alvaro Sanchez. Has Pineda in the channel with Fernandez on that far side. Tackled away, out for a throw-in.
Well, Sanchez, number 31, he plays that number 10 position. You see him all the way on that left flank, finding himself making that run off of Pineda. That's what we were talking about even before this game started, was Pineda getting that ball at his feet and allowing his center midfielders, in Sanchez specifically, to make those dynamic runs off of him.
A bit of a miss kick there. Deegan tries to get his cross in, and away there. Here comes El Farolito through the feet of Soto. And now Kipre Sacre operating on this left side. for Martinez. And now Arias, a couple of step overs. Farolito comfortable in possession here. Soto, his little ball back for Martinez, intercepted. Alvaro Sanchez, ball over the top for Deegan. Deegan and the goalkeeper, Kevin Gonzalez, comes out here. Deegan sees the opportunity. He knows the moment there. And the referee signals right on the mark of 5 minutes added stoppage time. And that is the end of a action-packed first half here at Kezar Stadium, the NPSL National Championship in San Francisco, California. El Farolito 1, Hickory FC 1. And thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in to our broadcast. Really appreciate it. Sarah, your halftime thoughts?
Well, first of all, let's just say an incredible first 45. This is exactly what we want from a final. High intensity, up and down, trading off momentum. And at the end of the day, I think we're going to see a second half very, very similar. I think the second half is going to start off a little bit more composed, a little bit more compact, and it'll open up. But first half, I mean, El Farolito coming out the strongest, but I think it was Hickory FC who got their feet underneath them, and a huge credit to them for settling down, composing themselves in this environment, away from their fans, in an unusual environment, and striking first. I think that was most important for Hickory. At the end of the day, I think we're going to get more physicality in that next half, possibly more.
Win a title 2 years in a row. And can Hickory, in their second year in the NPSL, win it under head coach Carlos Rubio and all of their hard work that they've put in this season?
Both of these clubs deserve so much credit for both of those reasons. El Farolito has been successful for so long in this league. And a huge credit, of course, to Santiago Lopez for that. And Hickory FC have just burst onto the scene so strong. Something that's honestly close to impossible to do for a new club to come on so strong. And that's a huge credit to the environment that we've already spoken about that they've built over at Hickory.
45 minutes that'll be rather historic in nature for both of these two sides.
Now, we do want to note, we talked about this at halftime. TV side, we don't have a ton of people sitting, but behind the camera, basically underneath the viewpoint that we're all getting, a ton of fans lining this sideline for both teams. This is a 10,000 person stadium, and I'd say almost half of it is filled up. Everybody, of course, wanting to sit. Now we get a shot of it. Half the people are in the bathroom right now. Everybody wanting to sit behind those benches, cheer on their team.
Well, a second half to decide the champion of the National Premier Soccer League. First started in 2003. No champion in 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Here is O'Mahony. Naylor. O'Mahony now for Alvaro Sanchez. Lovely little run from Alvaro Sanchez. We saw his activity in that first half, Sarah. Loves to operate underneath the center forward in that lovely little attacking midfield space.
Yeah, I think he's somebody that also grew into the game and grew into that first half. We didn't really see him on the ball that much in those first 20, I'd say. But Sanchez, then with plenty of opportunities, and created a lot of chances for Hickory in the second part of that first half. And for Hickory, I'd like to see him on the ball more. Good things happen when he gets on the ball. I think for Hickory this half, that should be one of the main goals, get him on the ball. For El Farolito, I'd like to see a little more patience in this attacking third. They've had the majority of the possession, so I want to see a little more patience around the 18.
Here is Pineda on this right side, trying to put that cross in for Robbie Deegan. It was a quick break. And As you were talking about, Sarah, Pineda loves to operate in the wide areas, in the wide spaces, and while he is the center forward, he can come back, play in that attacking midfield position, get on the ball a little bit more.
Super dynamic. We spoke with head coach Carlos Rubio, and he said that Pineda obviously plays that number 9, but he can also push out wide and play that left wing. If they want to sub on a number 9 who's maybe a little taller, a little more of an aerial presence, so they can play that way instead of playing to Pineda's feet. Pineda can slot out wide into that left wing position, so very versatile. Provides a lot of options for this Hickory team.
This is Soto, who won that penalty in that first half. Soto on the left side. Still Soto. It's a lovely run by Elrod Soto. Out for a corner.
What a game Soto is having. You mentioned he drew that penalty kick. He's also been showing off the quality that he has when the ball is at his feet. We've seen a couple of back heels, but him really just willing himself down that line to win that corner kick right there is a really good image of what we've seen from him so far this game.
Put into the area off of Mosqueda. I think off of his arm there, or maybe his shoulder. Referee says play on. Murillo. And just one last point about Pineda. He was a player that actually didn't have a place to play in the summer. And he just emailed Carlos Rubio and the coaching staff. He was at Richmond Kickers, and they found themselves a gem.
They certainly did. It was, I would say, lucky on both ends, and he certainly made a name for himself and found himself a home here with Hickory. And Carlos Rubio described him as an electric special player.
And he wins the free kick right in front of his team's bench. Mosqueda gets that header just in front of Alvaro Sanchez. A little bit of an awkward one there as he was kind of moving backwards. They both were.
Mosqueda wearing the captain's armband. 37 years old, we were told by head coach Santiago Lopez, the oldest player on the team. Certainly putting all of us to shame if we are below 37 years old and not playing at this high level of soccer. Said he's quite the leader on that back line as well.
Mosqueda down this right side. Substitute Jonathan Perez in the game. On this near side for El Farolito.
This is Johan Yabor, the right back, who is down on the ground.
Perez on this right side, he wins it back. And the referee blows his whistle again. Couple of stoppages to start this second half, but similar to the first half.
Certainly.
In that regard. Pineda. Right side, Pineda. Gonzalez now. Into the feet of the substitute, Jonathan Perez. Good spell of possession here for Hickory. Fernandez. A little bit of space for him. Perez tracks him down, though. Wins it back.
That's great work from Perez, the substitute. He can play in that right back role as well. So you know he has those defensive capabilities, and you'll have to see him executing that.
And Deegan taken to ground there by Johan Yabur.
Who's already on a yellow, might I add.
Unless we may have had that potentially incorrect. Or maybe that first half yellow was Zuluaga, I think, maybe. have to go back and check.
Well, El Farolito, lucky that we noted that wrong. It was not Yabor on the yellow. That certainly would have been a second yellow and a red. But focusing back on where we are right now, a dangerous opportunity here for Hickory. It's an awkward position because this is a little too far out, I would say, to shoot it. You could try if you've got a strong leg. Why not? But it's a little too close to float it into the back post.
Wanche and O'Mahony behind it. Wanche's ball. Pineda heads on. Geoffroy Litien! It's Geoffroy Litien for Hickory FC! They've taken the lead back! Geoffroy Litien, who scored in the semi-final, scores again here in the final. 2 goals in 2 matches for the center back.
What a set piece that was. Beautifully executed, beautifully textured. I said it was an awkward distance, and it certainly was. And instead of floating all the way into the back post, Hickory opts to float kind of mid-box and head that ball across. A beautifully drawn-up play, even more perfectly executed. You could not have executed that better. Well earned from Hickory.
They have snatched back the momentum indeed. Here's the ball again from Wanche, Pineda, Litien. Geoffroy Litien, the man for the big occasion. You can't deny him that now. Semi-final goal for him, final goal for him. And that's the difference between these two sides in this second half.
Geoffroy Litien joined this squad just 2 matches ago. They knew they would have him at this time. Standing 6'6" tall, obviously good in the air. He has a lot of ability at his feet for somebody that size, said Carlos Rubio. But what a moment for him. Some appreciation for Pineda on that assist.
Arias, Denver Benson, and the flag goes up.
Well, very similar here, looking for the ball straight across the face of the goal. Well defended, and nobody really there in the middle, crashing in for El Farolito anyways.
And apologies, that was Zuluaga there on that far side. Pineda. He has a goal and an assist so far in this final. And almost fell there for Sanchez. And Pineda is going to be booked here.
Yeah, well, we don't have to explain that one. I think that one's pretty crystal clear. Quite a game for Pineda, a goal, assist, and a yellow so far, and we're just 55 minutes in. And you do get the feeling right now that Hickory, in a way, feel like they're playing with house money. You would expect a team that's playing away, that just went up 2-1 in a final, to start to sit back a little bit and defend that lead. But instead, what we see is them pressing just as much as they were before.
Litien, they're asking for the handball. The referee waves it away. They're pointing to the AR here on this near side, but here comes Hickory with numbers. Pineda had Sanchez there and tackled away at the last moment by Mosquera. And there is a big, big penalty shout. And did it come off his left arm there?
El Farolito calling for a handball. I have to say, I can't get a good enough look to really say.
Well, again, there is no VAR here in the NPSL National Championship. Do not have a VAR room. So those are the replays, and wherever you're watching, you can judge for yourself.
El Farolito right now, similar to the first half, they need to not panic. They went down first in the first half. Hickory scored, went up 1-0. El Farolito panicked a little bit, and it took them a moment to settle down, settle in, and know that a goal was going to come. They had to trust the process, and that's harder to do in the second half, and specifically in the second half of a final. But now more than ever, they need to just trust in what they've been doing the entire season and know that they didn't score all those goals for no reason. They have a great offense. They're very dynamic. They just need to settle down. Right there, that's just nerves that need to settle. And the sooner they can do that, the sooner they'll be able to mount some attacks and gain some of that possession back, because I would say in that first half, El Farolito really had the majority of possession, and so far in the second half, it's been Hickory.
Yeah, they've seemed to make the adjustments under Carlos Rubio in the second half that allowed them to be even more dynamic, Hickory, in a way.
Yeah, I think a lot of that was just simply not being afraid to go at El Farolito. Hickory, I think, came out a little timid, didn't know what to expect from El Farolito, and were sitting back because of it. And it really does seem like some of the conversation at halftime was just to not be afraid, and uh-oh.
Well, Johan Jabur and Robbie Deegan get into it there. They had won the free kick, El Farolito, and here's Jabur, and pushes Deegan there with his right hand. They want a second yellow card.
I think it's the right no call, for the record, I will say. Obviously, there was a little bit of a push, but it was also sold on Deegan's end. A good sell job as well, but a good no call. Especially for a second yellow, I will say, in a final. Not that situations necessarily matter. No matter what, I think it was a good no call, but especially in a game like this.
Juan Pablo dispossessed, and referee blows his whistle here, and a big hoof away by Jorge Murillo, who's going to be booked for dissent, I believe, just for having a go at goal.
I actually think it's for this shove in the back right here. Right there. No matter, another yellow. And I think at this point, both teams are going to be lucky to get out of here with 10 players on the field with the amount of players we have on yellow cards. Did I say 10 players? They'll be lucky to get out of here with 11 players.
Yeah, 3 on the Hickory side. Pineda, Juan Pablo, Jeffroy Etienne, who just scored for the visitors. And for the home side, Keeper Sacre, Jorge Murillo, who's just been withdrawn, Andres Zulaga, and Johan Jabur.
It'll be Adolfo Pino who will take the place of Murillo. Oh, excuse me, it will be Jaime Arias to take the place.
Here is Juan Pablo. And now Robbie Deegan. It's a lovely turn from Robbie Deegan. Ball into the pathway for Diego Fernandez. Held in here by Denver Benson. A bit of a heel flick, I think, right there to Jonathan Perez. And referee stops play again. Lots of stops and starts in this first 15 minutes through the second half. We've had a goal. We've had a couple of yellow cards. And there you see Robbie Deegan just flying into the El Farolito bench. Well, he won't mind it, especially if his team gets over the line through the 90 minutes, but seems like he's been in quite a few physical challenges in this game. Naylor with the little step over there. The crowds very much enjoyed that. Retained here by the home side, El Farolito. who started in the SFSFL 40 years ago. And a family-run operation. Santiago Lopez and his sisters, Lupe and Irene, they run a family business. The taquerias, very famous taquerias, and a bar in the Mission District. Here is Soto, his cross. And that's why this team is nicknamed the Burrito Boys. And I spoke to Irene, actually, before the game, and there is a level of pride from Irene and Santiago Lopez. And Irene says, I think it's so great and wonderful we get to host the final. It's always nice to be a host. And Santiago Lopez saying how wonderful it is to actually get the chance to host, because they've been on the road for so much of their success. And not only does Santiago coach the team, he also is an assistant coach at the Town FC, a professional club in the East Bay, and also helps run the family business all at the same time. A Renaissance man in soccer.
This team so beloved by this community. So to the point of having this final here in San Francisco, El Farolito fans have certainly turned up in numbers. It was somewhat the talk of the town that this game was happening. You can't really be, a soccer fan in the Bay Area and in San Francisco specifically and not know that this is happening. Everybody really rides for El Farolito, and nice for them to get that experience here.
Yeah, and it comes from their father, Don Chava, who started El Farolito in the team and used to have the team at the bar after games, and actually played on the 1993 team, which was Club Deportivo Mexico at that time. Santiago Lopez actually in Indianapolis for that final as an 8-year-old boy. Here is Johan Jabur, his cross into the area. Over to the far side, Denver Benson is there. They're asking for another handball. He's waving and shouting. It did fall for him for a second. It was over the head of Geoffroy Litien.
He wants a call for a jersey tug is what he wants here. He wants a call for holding on the jersey at the end of the day. Well positioned by Hickory. 2 players on Benson. Benson wearing number 9, playing the number 9. He is that big target forward. He is who they will look for on a cross like that. So far, that's been the difference really in this game. Hickory's 2 center backs and defense have been able to really organize and pick up marks in the box. And El Farolito has suffered 2 goals from missed marks.
Here is Perez. And another key piece of El Farolito's history is that, and in terms of their marketing folks, got the chance to speak with Abel Aguiano this week at training, and he's putting together a lovely piece of history, a potential documentary film about the club, and has been following them toe-to-toe every match this season through the Open Cup run, where they defeated a couple of professional clubs up until this point, and he knows so much about the team. Just a wonderful resource of knowledge. And I asked him if he's the club historian, and he said, yes, you can kind of look at it like that.
Sub there for Hickory is number 7, Fernandez, who will exit. And it is number 18, Galizzi, who will enter and is now involved in a scuffle.
Galizzi immediately booked here as Johan Jabur just flies over the bench. Or the scores table, rather, of one of the photographers, local photographers here at the stadium. So, Luciano Galizzi right to the book with his first touch.
An interesting substitution here for Hickory. Fernandez, who came off, was actually a sub in the first half. He came on when the injured Sousa had to exit.
And just over the bar there by Edgar Crier. That free kick whipped into the far side, put back into the pathway of Kriye there. His hands on his head. He knew he had the opportunity to equalize.
Yeah, the ball was just a little... And we're going to get a yellow card for time wasting here. It'll be on Mickey, the goalkeeper.
Well, Sarah, I have to say that you're correct, and I think it's more of a pick your who's going to get out of here with 11 players on the field, potentially. Who's it going to be at this point? Because half the teams have both been booked.
Certainly. We might start to see some more substitutions because of that. You don't know, but I like this energy that we're seeing from El Farolito. We haven't really seen this since the first half.
One back here by Arias. Exchanges a pass here with Perez. One back by the visitors. Here comes Pineda and Sanchez. O'Mahony. Sanchez looking to float the ball through there to Galizzi. And restart.
Right now, El Farolito having trouble switching the point of attack when they're in their attacking half. Hickory are doing a really good job defensively of staying tight and forcing El Farolito to one side and then not breaking that pressure, not letting them out of that side. And El Farolito right now do need to switch the point of attack. They're getting stuck on one side. It's been the right side for them predominantly in the past 5 minutes, but they need to figure out a way around it so that they can switch that point of attack, whether it's back or a long ball to relieve some of that pressure. Hickory right now have El Farolito's number.
Restart for the visitors. Looking for Robbie Deegan. He's been so effective in this game on that right wing. Here's Ronan O'Mahony. He's fouled. Also talk about a player that a lot has gone through his feet and kind of dictated the game with his little through balls and keeping possession for his team. Clever player in central midfield.
Is that box-to-box midfielder? He'll play alongside Sanchez in the 10, and O'Mahony has done exactly that. He's been box-to-box.
Here is Deegan. He wants to have a go at goal. Looking to bring it back on his left foot. Tackled away by Mosquera. And now Soto. And Deegan grabbing his face, but playing on. We've played 70 minutes here at Kezar Stadium. The visitors lead 2-1, 20 minutes to go. Here is Perez. He puts the ball back in here. Will it fall for Soto or Denver Benson? It's Martinez. Soto, left side. Back to his right foot. And then cleared away by Charlie Naylor.
And that's the moment right there where El Farolito needed a little bit more patience. That ball didn't need to be crossed into the box right there. And in fact, it probably wasn't the right idea. It was too early. There weren't the runners that they needed. That's what's been able to afford Hickory so much time on the ball going back the other way.
Pineda and Robbie Deegan, change of pace. And he's going to have a free kick in a dangerous area.
Yeah, we'll get another look at that here. A collision from behind and ball wasn't gotten. You can understand why there are appeals for a yellow card. Nevertheless, it will be a free kick in an incredibly dangerous position. I'm going to assume as O'Mahony stands over it with the right. Looks like that might be Juanche standing over it with the left, wearing the captain's armband. From this distance, you can only assume that there's going to be a shot taken.
You got Juanche on his left foot and Ronan O'Mahony on his right foot. 3 in the wall for the home side. The last free kick they scored. It's going to be Ronan O'Mahony.
I like the take. From that distance, you just have to take it. Wanche fakes it, and it's O'Mahony going for that top left corner. Those shots are a little more difficult than it looks. It's closer than it feels. So to get that ball to dip down into the face, or excuse me, underneath that crossbar while still going over the wall is incredibly difficult.
Arias standing behind the ball. Farolito now sending numbers. Of course, you would expect that in this part of the game. Both center backs as well. Out for a corner.
Now Farolito can't rush this. Still plenty of time to play. 18 minutes. They do the right thing here and not rush it. Now, the most important thing isn't necessarily for El Farolito to score right on this, but to maintain possession. Can you maintain some possession around this 18 now that you've gotten the ball down in this attacking third?
Goalkeeper comes out to punch it away. It'll be another corner on this near side. Soto running over to it, eager to take. Every single Hickory player back defending this corner. All but two El Farolito players inside the 18. He goes near post. Bit of an awkward ball up into the air. And coming down with it is Juan Pablo. And Denver Benson was defending Juan Pablo there. And he's got himself a free kick in a dangerous area outside on that left flank.
Yeah, Juan Pablo getting a little lucky there. He kind of got bailed out by an unnecessary foul. There was no need for him to swing it that one touch. He had the time to take it down, try to pull it back out. And that's been the main problem for El Farolito. They're trying to force it. They need to just settle down. Feel free to play back, play out of pressure, and keep it and wait for their opportunity.
Gabriel Arias to put this ball into the area, headed away. It was a dangerous, good ball. Soto with possession on this right side. Soto and now Yabur looking for Denver Benson, top of the area. Perez! And Jonathan Perez's strike, high and wide, fizzing.
Perez with the toe poke. Almost gets that underneath. Some energy here from El Farolito. What a battle we're seeing between Deegan and Soto as well.
And the referee stops play here. Might have a word with Alvaro Sanchez. And another free kick for the home side as they chase this game inside the last 15 minutes we go. The national championship on the line. Every single touch is cheered and jeered within this facility. As you had talked about, Sarah, the fans are actually in front of us in the
non-TV side.
Yeah, the non-TV side stands. So you do hear them oohing and awing, cheering every single move. If it's a step over or a 1v1 situation, you get an applause. Every single foul is a debate. And that's the beauty of this game. That's why we play this game. And what a great showcase here in the NPSL final, both of these two sides.
There's some substitutions here. Thomas Polacci, who we've already spoken about on this broadcast, will enter the game for Hickory FC. Alvaro Sanchez will take a seat. Polacci had that goal in their semifinal, one touch in the entire game, and it resulted in a goal. We know he's a late goal scorer, a game changer, and is used to these big pressure situations. And on El Farolito side, it's Yabor who will take a seat. Number 13.
Ball over the top here. It comes in. Kevin Gonzalez makes the save. Palachi was in there, and Palachi is down. Palachi is grabbing his left knee. Well, Sarah, you almost queued him up for quite a goal indeed. Tomas Palachi. He was in there. And Kevin Gonzalez stood firm for the home side. Palachi, one of the captains of this Hickory team. Arias's ball floated up. It's a lovely ball. Mosquera and Zulaga is there. Looking to turn the corner is Kriye.
Now we can say now it's number 13, Eric Arias, who stepped onto the field for El Farolito in place of number 22, Johan Yabor. This one certainly feels like it'll come down to the wire, Charles.
Yeah, the tension is high. It's been high since the kickoff. You want that from a title-winning match, or just at least a match of this magnitude. And you can tell that these two teams have not been tested by one another, and the visitors have that lead, that all-important lead, comfortable in possession as the home team chases this game. Arias looking for Eric Arias.
Hickory will take their time. Just a picture of how dominant both of these teams have been. Obviously, there's awards given out at the end of every season. Golden Boot, Golden Ball, Golden Glove, and Coach of the Year. And 3 out of those 4 award winners are present here with us. The Antonio Pineda, the Golden Ball winner, in other words, the MVP.
Here's Soto again. Soto's ball, just a little bit too much and high for Denver Benson. Found himself in. 3 players, 4 Hickory players chasing him.
Just incredible. This is what I've been saying about Soto all game. He is willing his team forward, and what he's been able to do and make happen on that left side has been pretty incredible. Back to the awards. It was Antonio Pineda, as we said, the Golden Ball winner, in other words, the MVP of the league. Kevin Gonzalez, the Golden Glove winner, the goalkeeper for El Farolito. And it was Carlos Rubio, Hickory FC's head coach, who won Coach of the Year. The only award that was given out that was not given to somebody on these two teams was the Golden Boot, the top scorer. And that was given to Virginia Dream FC's Nicholas Luculia with 17 goals in 9 matches.
Here's Eric Arias. Lovely little turn from Eric Arias. Denver Benson, he heads down. He was looking for Edgar Kriye. Looking to alleviate some pressure. Is Robbie Deegan. He's limping, but that won't stop him at all as the ball trickled all the way through to Pineda, and Kevin Gonzalez was off his line just in time. That could have been 3-1. Does El Farolito have an answer for Hickory? And can Hickory see this through? Maybe get an extra one in this last 10 minutes just to settle things down. Deegan, and he continues his run after the ball went out. The Hickory bench is incensed, and Deegan, who's put his body on the line, has been running up and down the right flank into the attacking midfield channels, and Mosquera is booked there. He had called the throw-in before Deegan had continued his run.
Well, it's a tricky situation here. You could say Deegan knew that ball was out and decided to go for a little time wasting. The brunt of that fall certainly looked like it was after the collision. The collision, accidental or not, the brunt of it happened after it. That part, of course, accidental. And mostly you just hate to see it because that was going to be a throw-in for El Farolito, because the captain Mosquera wasn't on a yellow, and now we'll have to play out these last few minutes on one. And this will certainly fall in favor of Hickory FC, as El Farolito were starting to gain quite some momentum and get Hickory on their back foot. Hickory starting to get pulled a little out of position defensively, and this a moment for them to gather themselves. Looks like we're going to have a substitution here. Deegan will step off, limping.
Well, Deegan has put in a shift that, if this holds, will be a historic one for this Hickory team. And he didn't score, but his work rate, just unbelievable. Here is Luciano Galizzi trying to turn the corner on Mosquera, who is booked. Mosquera gets his foot in there. Galizzi at the corner flag. Zuluaga looking to clear. And look at the smile from Galizzi. He knew what he was doing there. And he knows why he's on the field. Hold the ball up, waste some time, do whatever he can. Get his team to the 90 minutes and to this championship.
Certainly can feel the tension in the air, can't you, Charles?
Yeah, I mean, if your heart's not beating and racing in this stadium, I don't know where you are. Here's Kriye. Over to the far side for Soto. Closed down by Maxime Wester. Denver Benson. He won the header there. It floated in centrally. They were able to clear. Here comes Pineda. That is exceptional from Pineda. Galizzi, they're trying to win the ball off of him, and they do through the feet of Arias. And now Soto, a little bit of space for him. And now Eric Arias on this left side. He puts the ball in. Perez is on the right side. And just a little too strong for him.
Yeah, a little too strong, a little early, I would say. Hickory had the overload in the box with numbers above El Farolito, 3 Hickory defenders and just 2 attackers for El Farolito. That's one of those moments where it might pay off in the long. It might pay off to, make that cross, see if something could happen, or you could cut it back, wait for the rest of your team to get forward and see what you can create from that. El Farolito's done a much better job here at being able to switch the point of attack, which they were struggling with about 20 minutes ago.
Kriye taken to ground. He's got himself a free kick. And the yellow card coming out here for, I believe, Gabriel Arias. Let's see, it stopped. Arias continued his run. He and Pineda ran into each other there, or rather Arias running into Pineda.
Yeah, and ironically, that's Arias' second yellow of the entire season, actually.
Not bad from your defensive midfield player
Certainly.
either, yeah.
We'll have another one there.
Well, that's for Tony Pineda, who's now gotten his second yellow. And they're going to go down to 10 men, Hickory. So Pineda gets a second yellow card. Has to be withdrawn here. or rather just he's ejected from the game. And that is a bit unfortunate because he's one of the best players, if not the best player on this field.
Well, certainly. I mean, 2 goals for Hickory. He scored the first one, he assisted the second one. And that will tell you just how important he is. We knew the Yellows might come back to bite one of these teams, and it does for Hickory. And now the question is, can they withstand these last 3 minutes plus whatever stoppage time is added on with 10 men?
Yeah, and you just got to say that is unfortunate there. I mean, we did, again, yes, we did talk about which player, who is it going to be.
Yep.
Roll the dice. I mean, and Carlos Rubio having a chat, but very calm with Turan Oadsmere. And the Hickory coach is not bothered by that. And here comes El Farolito. And Charlie Naylor made that defensive play. I think he was bumped into.
Oh, that ball was just rolling across the face of the goal. And if you're El Farolito, you want something better than to let that ball just trickle across the face of the goal like that.
Juan Pablo Gallego now in the game for the home side. Hickory down to 10 players. And Harry Rowe in the game, as we had said, for Robbie Deegan. And then the whole second yellow card happened. Here is Soto. Or rather, it took a big deflection. Apologies there, it's the substitute, Juan Pablo Gallego.
El Farolito will go quickly with this corner kick. Harry Rowe came in as a left winger, but his true position is a left back, actually, so it looks like they've just slotted him back into that left back role, and Hickory are going to try to ride this out, possibly with a 5-back.
Floated into the area. Oh, and at the back post there, it wasn't too far off. Lovely corner by Juan Pablo Gallego. And I think that's Eric Arias, far side.
Yeah, just not enough reaction time there. He really tried hard to keep it in, but tough deflection, and now Hickory will try to just send it long. The name of the game for Hickory is to find the corner. The name of the game for El Farolito is get as many shots and opportunities in the box as you possibly can now.
Zuluaga quickly to his captain and center back partner, Jonathan Mosquera. Juan Pablo Gallego. Denver Benson off of his head there. Maxime Wester trying to make something happen and alleviate some pressure. Here comes Farolito. Plenty of time for Perez to put this ball in. And the goalkeeper, Mickey, right on his line, right in time.
We're going to have 6 minutes of stoppage time here.
Yeah, we just got the sign here from the league official at the table right around central midfield. 6 minutes to go. Can Hickory withstand the pressure from El Farolito? Can El Farolito find an equalizer in stoppage time? Very organized Hickory defending here. Zuluaga into the area. Will it fall here? Create. Back up into the air. Arias. Perez on this right side. Perez put into the area. Denver Benson. And diving to his right side is Mickey.
Well, good job to get this cross off. Well placed. I'd like to see more El Farolito players crashing in the box. We're in the stoppage time. of a final, and there's only 3 players in the 18.
Zuluaga will just hoof it forward. Geoffroy Litien smartly back to his goalkeeper. And as it stands, he is the match winner. His goal early on in this second half, separating these two teams. About 4 minutes to go. The crowd willing El Farolito forward. And Hickory fans in here all standing up, wanting to see the game through, wanting to see their side just make it through. And they're close. They're very close. There's Luciano Galizzi. His little ball down the sideline for Harry Rowe. Central here onside is Polacci. It's Polacci! Tomasz Polacci! He is a club hero. He is a club legend. And Hickory have scored a third. And Hickory will be this year's NPSL champions. A crucial goal from the player who scores crucial goals, and Tomasz Polacci does it again for Hickory. El Farolito 1, Hickory 3, and they can see it now. They can see the finish line.
Carlos Rubio told us how special this player was and how few chances he needed to make his name known, and he's able to show everybody in the final what he's done all season long. And what a moment for him, and what a moment for Hickory. And you can obviously see the emotion, but it's simply pouring through the screen. You can feel it too.
Tomasz Polacci, the Argentine player from Buenos Aires, who recently graduated from Emmanuel University, who has scored match winners. He scored the match winner in the national semifinal. He scores again here. He scored a crucial goal for Hickory to win the Southeast Conference. And that goal written in a script somewhere for him and for Hickory in the foothills of North Carolina. Here's Denver Benson. And now Edgar Krier. Perez! Well, Perez pulls one back. Perez pulls one back. Hold on. Perez pulls one back. Perez for El Farolito. Jonathan Perez.
A great ball and a great finish. That's the patience around the 18. Served on a platter for Perez, and he tucks it away. But the question is it too late for El Farolito?
Well, that celebration may have taken some time. Well, they want to get it forward, El Farolito. Can they find another one? Headed away by Geoffroy Litien. And suddenly that Polacci goal becomes all the more important. We have about 20 seconds to go on our stoppage time cue here. And Denver Benson with that header over the bar. How much extra time on top of the extra time is Jose Landa gonna give? And Hickory looking at their bench. Just need to get it forward and defend. El Farolito Probing potentially for a third goal. Referee says play on. Here's Galizzi against Mosquera. Mosquera wins it back smartly for his team. Again, they've got to get it forward. It's Juan Pablo with a lovely tackle. They wanted a foul there. Ronan O'Mahony wanted a foul as well. Geoffroy Litien clears it away. Just chaos. Here's Galizzi. And there's the final whistle from Jose Landa, and Hickory are the 2025 NPSL champions. And it is the goal from Tomas Polacci, and pushing and shoving here. But it's the goal from Tomas Polacci that wins this match 3-2 in a match that pretty much had everything. Yellow cards, a red card, a sending off, a penalty, and a couple of goals in added time. Sarah Ash, have you caught your breath yet?
I don't think that there are adequate words to describe this. This has been a final for the ages. It's been a final of all finals. And what a joy it's been to not only witness this, but to get to call it alongside you, Charles. And heartbreak for El Farolito, and pure and utter joy for Hickory FC. And obviously Hickory, a new team to this league, just in their second year, but maybe smell a rivalry brewing between these two teams. No love is lost. And